Okay, guys, I'm ready to get started. For those recording, if you could just give me the green light and we will get the call officially started.
Yep.
Awesome.
Good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 88 MPH community call. My name is Whipper, and I'm a crypto enthusiast and an 88 MPH community volunteer. We have a monster call lined up for you guys today, and it's our pleasure to host two of the biggest DeFi projects in the crypto space. Today with us, we have Aave and Yearn. A couple of reminders before we get started. When you are on stage, please keep your mic muted unless you're speaking. If you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand so we can bring you up on stage. Our Q&A section will run at the end of the call, and a quick reminder that we'll be closing the call with a $100 raffle giveaway to one lucky listener, so please stay tuned to the end. Please sit back and enjoy. You're going to like this call, folks. This is a big one. And with that, we're going to open this up first with Mark, and then we're going to be followed by Feisu, and then we'll talk to McFly. Mark, I'm going to give the mic. I'm going to pass it over to you. If you could please give us a quick introduction into Aave, who you are, a little bit of your background, and what brought you into the crypto space. That's a great way to start.
I'm gonna start at the end. What brought me to the crypto space is that I hate banks, to be honest, and what happened in traditional finance. And I love to do my small part to build an alternative. And that's what important in decentralized finance is that we are a full ecosystem, finding synergy between each other to build something that is different for the end users. About me, as you can easily hear it, I'm French. I'm one of the creators of Ethereum France, the organizer of the HCC conference that is next week. I hope we're gonna see a lot of you folks. And I was involved with quite a few projects, but I'm very happy to have joined Aave in 2019. And Aave is a liquidity protocol on the Ethereum mainnet and also on Polygon and soon on rollups as well. And we have around $60 billion of liquidity, and people can deposit assets to get some yield on Aave and or use those assets as collateral to borrow and do whatever they want with those assets. And what is interesting, I just talked about the synergies, is that basically there's synergy with everyone on this panel between Aave and you guys. So if you just want a passive income on Aave, it makes sense to use Aave, but it makes even better sense to use, for example, Yearn, because Yearn will develop several strategies and inside their vaults, and some of them and a good chunk of them they actually deposit into Aave, but will basically make your yield on steroids compared to just depositing in Aave. And if you want some predictability into your yield, you can use 88 byte per hour, the app, because that will give you a fixed lending rate, which is not the case on Aave, because supply and demand determine the rates. So there's always synergies with everyone in DeFi.
That's awesome. Feisu, let's pass it off to you. If you'd like to give an intro into yourself as well as Yearn, what sort of brought you in this space?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, it's Facu. I know it's a weird name. I'm Argentinian, so it's a.
Oh my God! So sorry, Facu. Sorry about that.
Don't worry. I know it's a super weird name. Well, what I do at Yearn is I facilitate stuff for vaults and strategies, and I also help with partnerships. Actually, I've been in the crypto space for quite a long time. I've been a farmer, but not the regular one. I've been a Bitcoin farmer before this, but I really got in love with Ethereum and all the community. So I was here for the tech. And now I'm here for the team. It's a gorgeous team and a gorgeous community. And what Mark said is it really resonates with me because there's a lot of interoperative composability. Let's put it like that. And all the protocols are working together towards a better financial system. Though I think that's really great. And about Yearn, it's a yield aggregator. We try to give our users and everyone the best yield available with safe investments and going up only. So that's it.
Thank you, Faku. McFly, I'm going to pass it to you for our guests joining us. Could you please give a small introduction into yourself as well as 88 MPH?
Yep, sure. So yeah, I'm McFly, co-founder of 88MPH, and quick intro regarding what we are doing here. We are offering fixed interest rate on stablecoins and crypto, and we are powered under the hood by Aave or Yearn, for example. So we are extracting variable yield, and we promise to our user a fixed yield. That's the deal.
Thank you, McFly. Gonna start with Mark here, and then we're gonna go back to Faku. So Aave and Yearn have pretty much grown into absolute beasts within the crypto space. What would you guys say is like the secret sauce for your success? I mean, like there's a ton of projects trying to sort of achieve what you guys are doing right now. What do you guys think that your secret sauce is, and what do you guys do to maintain your position right now?
A lot of anime memes.
Was that Mark?
A lot of anime memes.
Oh, hilarious.
To blue waifu. Isn't that is Yearn's, isn't it? Aave, are you doing the same?
Yeah, we done that before, you guys, but we love that you joined the endeavors. We created Aave-chan.
We know what we're doing wrong. We need anime memes.
Yeah.
Let's Mark, in all seriousness for a second. I mean, let's talk about Aave's growth here for a second. I mean, I think last time I checked DeFi Pulse, you guys are sitting at #1. Obviously, you guys have done a tremendous amount of work to achieve that, and because it didn't start out like that. What would you say is sort of the secret? Not the secret, but like, what would you say is that the team? Is it like what's sort of working for you guys, and what would you say to other teams that are working really hard to try to build themselves out?
Aave is in a very comfortable position in the sense that the liquidity protocol of Aave is a middleware. So basically for Aave, our way to growth is to help other protocols of the ecosystem grow. Because each time someone deposits into Yearn, there's a good chance that that dollars goes back into Aave because Yearn will deposit, for example, into Curve, and then Curve will deposit back into Aave. And the same thing with 88 MPH. So this synergy approach, first approach, and thinking about the community and the ecosystem first, I think that's one of the reason for where we are right now with Aave. There's no doubt in my mind that we would not be at this position without the fantastic ecosystem we have in DeFi.
Do you think that you just said it would, if it wasn't for the fantastic ecosystem, then you wouldn't be where you are? Do you think that it's the future is multiple independent protocols working together to make the best yields for everyone, or do you think do you see it kind of conglomerating into I guess single service?
I have the feeling that the best approach is to pick up one thing in DeFi and try to be the best in the world at doing that thing. And for example, for Aave, it's being a liquidity protocol. For 88 MPH is to provide a range of services like fixed lending, but you guys do also a lot of things. And for Yearn is to provide the best vol strategy to provide the best passive income when you deposit into Yearn. And basically focus on the one thing you try to be the best in the world to do, and for everything else, build bridges with the other guys. And for example, Aave use Chainlink oracles for the price feeds, because it doesn't make sense for us to dedicate bandwidth and focus and engineering time into recreating something that Chainlink does very well. And this approach to focus on one thing and try to be the best at that thing and build with the other guys for everything else, I think that's what makes DeFi different, because in DeFi, working in silo doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. All that DeFi mindset of everyone is in competition, it's a zero-sum game, it doesn't exist in DeFi. It doesn't work that way. It's not a zero-sum game. We all have an interest that everybody grow together.
What about you? I mean, Yearn obviously, at least in my opinion, and I think everyone will agree, maintains this position as number one for yield aggregating. But there are so many within the space. What would you say is the leading factor to the success of the Yearn project?
For us, it's been the community, and I'm saying the community in the wide sense of the word, because the community is our team in the end, because all of our team came through the community. Me myself, I started collaborating and stayed long term. So, and I totally agree with Mark. Here in DeFi, you will see a lot of collaboration that you don't see in CeFi. CeFi is like a Shark Tank, but DeFi, it's like super collaborative, and you will see that in Yearn, and especially Yearn team members like helping other projects or whatever, just for the sake of helping. There's much of the time there's not an economic interest. It's just for the sake of helping. So for me, that's great, and I think that's part of what brought us here as Yearn. And of course, and I think for Aave it's the same thing. For you guys, it's shipping. You gotta get shit done at the end of the day, because if not, you're just like you're LARPing. So I think for us, it's the community and shipping like hell.
True. You have to innovate all the time in DeFi, because there's a lot of crypto product that stop innovating at some point, or took some decision to be more conservative, and they are not here today. Like, if you want to stay relevant, no matter who you are, you have to keep innovate, keep trying to build the best experience for your users, because that's what matters at the end. We are working for the community.
So,
Yeah,
Mark,
yeah.
you said that- oh, sorry, Mark, you said that everyone's working together and it's a non-zero-sum game, and you're also saying that innovation is what is necessary for survival. So, if everyone's working together, the open source idea is very much like we're all working together. We're all trying to find the best tech and solve a lot of the issues with the financial system. But if everything's open source, to an extent, your most innovative work is the base level for someone else. Like, they can come in and they can take your most innovative work once the contract has been published. You stay competitive and burn yourself out. Like, you can imagine you do a very innovative thing internally, it takes your team many months, and someone else just comes and takes it without any work, and they're fresh and they can go and innovate themselves. Like, how do you combat that?
Well, the first thing is that you cannot fork a community. Like, we saw that especially in the automatic market makers market. Like, we saw people just trying to take the MasterChef code and build a copy of Sushi and build a farm around it. And we saw that in the summer 2020, and it still exists today, that people just copy paste some code and try to call it a project. And sometimes they get funding around that. Sometimes they get a market cap around that, but it never lasts. Like, because, like, for example, what SushiSwap is today, it's so much more than what it was at the very beginning, who was just a copy of Uniswap v2 code, because they keep on innovating. Like, they took that as a starting point and they keep on innovating. And what we saw on the automatic market maker market is that you have Uniswap that took their own path with V3, like completely changed their model with like the way to provide liquidity, the way to design the curve, everything different. And SushiSwap that take another path. And from the same genesis, you have two innovative, creative teams that keep on building things for the end users, and I think everybody's winning. Like, I'm very glad that we have both Uniswap and SushiSwap and some other market maker out there. I don't think it's an issue that all your code is open source, because it's never the end. Like, it's never like when you publish a version of the protocol, it's the beginning of the work for the next version. So if someone copy pastes your version of the protocol that exists today, he cannot fork your community, and he cannot fork your capacity to innovate further.
Got it. Thank you.
That's a really good point. Mark, at the beginning of the call, you made a comment that I think many crypto enthusiasts share with regards to your criticisms about banks. One of the criticisms that I hear a lot from Bitcoin maxis with regards to Ethereum in general is that a lot of the DeFi projects are not so quote unquote decentralized as they're advertised. I'm curious if both you and Faku could just comment on where you guys are in terms of decentralization, from 1 to 100, where 100 is fully decentralized and 1 being fully centralized. You can comment on that. That'd be great.
I wouldn't say like 0 is Binance, and 100 will be Uniswap V1. Uniswap V1 is some code that has been deployed on the Ethereum mainnet, and no one can alter it. Like, it's just there, and it still works, and it will probably still work in 10 years. And I would say Aave is around 80, 85, in the sense that everything that can alter and modify the Aave protocol has to be decided by the Aave community. So the Aave token holders, we have the AIP process, the Aave improvement proposal. You have a governance process, snapshot voting. It's pretty standard in DeFi this day, and I'm very happy that most of the blue chips out there and most of the protocol that matters are taking the decentralization path. And that's all the things work, but still, even if we have the Aave Grand DAO, the RIS DAO, and initiative to have more and more direct involvement from the community, even at the protocol level, there's still the Genesis team that is shipping some code, and that's a good thing because there's innovation. But I always have this idea when I started working in DeFi, and I think you guys maybe share this weird idea that if we are very good at our job, we won't have a job anymore in the next few years. And that's a good thing, because that means the community will have taken the lead on most of the things. And that's what we want. We want no one at the head of any protocol. We want no one in control but the community.
What does that look like for you? Does that look like, a team of Solidity devs, but run and it's incentivized by their, just their participation in Aave? They hold a lot of Aave tokens, or however, how does the coordination and the implementation of that continue? Something like that?
So in Aave, there's the ecosystem reserve. So there's Aave reserve that is dedicated, for example, to staker in the safety module, but also dedicated a budget to the Grand DAO. So there's a reserve funds and a war chest to incentivize building on Aave for the next few years, and I hope for many years after that. And there's also a protocol is not only developers. Like, obviously, that's the core of things and the center of gravity of things to develop the protocols, but the community is so much more. It's education, it's the reach, it's the risk. Like when you have a DeFi protocol, defining the interest rate curves, the LTV models, all these kind of things are really important as well. So there's a diverse set of skills that are needed to contribute to a DeFi protocol or to contribute to the DeFi ecosystem. And I really like this idea that in our ecosystem, in DeFi, in general, nobody cares of who you are, who you come from, what is your gender, origin, age, all these kind of silly things. Like, it's all about your participation. Like, if you are someone with an anime picture and post in the Yearn or Aave governance forum and you say something smart, there's 100% chance that people will clap what you say because it's smart.
Yeah, it feels like a real meritocracy, right? It feels like, yeah, the anonymity behind. I mean, you can see I haven't got an anonymous profile here, and I do actually wonder if I'd get more clout if I did. But just the anonymity part of it means that you can behave, say, do whatever you want, and no one will judge you based on anything other than what you put out there. And I think that's the greatest part of it is what you produce and what you say that gets you further into DeFi.
And I think that's one of the biggest difference between DeFi and CeFi. Like in DeFi, nobody cares who you are. Nobody cares if you're rich or not rich, because the Aave protocol or the YN vote or the 88 MPH protocol gonna give you exactly the same rate. If you deposit 1 million or if you deposit $100, it's gonna be exactly the same set of rules, because the rules of the game are neutral and defined by the code, and that's what is powerful because it never existed in financial history. We lived in the world like for centuries where some people got better terms than other kinds of people. Like for the first time in history in DeFi, everybody is treated equally.
What's your take on that with regards to some of those comments I made about maybe some criticisms that some people might have about Ethereum or DeFi projects in general? When we eventually want to take this mainstream and we want people investing their hard-earned money into these protocols, into the decentralized finance, what sort of feedback or what sort of arguments could we make back with regards to how things are decentralized? And if you could
Yeah.
just add, I really like how Mark sort of gave like a loose number with regards to a scale from 1 to 100. I'd love to hear your opinion on where you guys think your project is at in terms of decentralization.
Yeah, about the number, it's a hard question because it depends on what you think about decentralization. I agree with most of Mark said. Right now, the decentralization of Yearn, I don't know a number. I could say like 70% maybe. It's quite high, but not only in the governance process and on the community thing and everything like the voting, the snapshot, and all that. Because in the end, the YFI holders are the ones who can do all the decisions in the protocol. But right now, we're undergoing a whole decentralization process inside Yearn. That is to say that we never had like that top-down hierarchy from a corporation. We were always horizontal, and right now with the latest proposal about the governance 2.0, we have independent teams that make decisions every day autonomously. So I think that that's important to bring to teams like internal decentralization. We don't have bosses inside Yearn. We have natural leaders if you want, but that's super natural. That's super like comfortable for everyone. So I think that's really great. And I agree with Mark that all the coordination is going to disappear at some point if we achieve a high level of decentralization, because it will not be needed. We at Yearn promote the self-starting philosophy, like go and do stuff. So if we all become truly decentralized, all out the organization and inside the organization, I think that the coordination roles, like mine, for example, is going to disappear, and that's going to be a really, really good news. But I don't think that that's comfortable for mainstream users, because today I see that for regular Joe, for a guy who's not in technology at least, interacting with Ethereum, it's really difficult, because you have to approve transactions where you have like weird addresses that start with 0x. If you lose your password, there's no recover my password button. That's crazy for some people. It's like, okay, I lost my password. What do? You lose your funds. And that's, I think some users need some hand holding. So I think that DeFi right now, it's not for everyone. because some people is going to need some hand holding, and that's not bad at all. We all have like different risk profiles and different likes and skills and everything.
I think that especially the custodial element of it, of controlling your funds, but potentially with no failsafe, and you know, the argument that even something like MetaMask isn't that safe because there's no 2FA. Like, how do you combat that? You know, what is the solution? Is it you just have to tell people, well, this is how it is, and you have to deal with it, and you have to learn to be better with your money? Or is there other technologies on the way that could make this kind of more accessible for the everyday person?
I think you have to have both options, because you will always have more power users that want to interact with something in a more low level, like using MetaMask, approving the transactions, interacting with contracts. And you will also have other users that do not want to deal with that. And I think that we will see new technologies that will improve the UX. I hope we see new technologies that will improve the UX for the regular users.
And it's already happening. Like, it's all a spectrum. Like, we don't have to be zealots or maximalist. I'm part of the guys who want to sign my own transaction and have my own hardware wallet and own my own keys. But at the end of the day, 98% of the people out there, they don't care and they don't want to do that and they don't want the responsibility. And it's fine. Like, it's already happening. Like, for example, all the strategy in Yearn is open source. So if I'm rich enough, I can do everything myself with my own ledger and do the transaction by hand and don't trust a middleman protocol. But it doesn't make sense, because if I do that, I will pay much more transaction fee to do it. Yes, I will have a complete control over the things, but the experience of going to yearn.finance and just deposit some DAI, USDC, or whatever asset I want inside the vault, it's completely different. And maybe there's some fees associated with the vault that goes to the community, that goes to the protocol. But I think that fees are completely justified by the user experience and by the work of the strategies. And it's a spectrum. DeFi is about freedom of choice. I can do things myself, or I can go inside a protocol or an application or whatever we want to call it that will do that process for me and provide me with some kind of more comfy experience. And DeFi will evolve more and more this way. And for many people in the future, DeFi will just look like a Revolut app or whatever neobank app inside their phones, and they won't even think about it, and they won't even know there's blockchain on it. But what is really important and what is the core for me is that everybody will have the choice. If they want to do their homework and take back control on their money, the technology will allow them to do that. Because right now in traditional finance, if you want to have control over your own money, you cannot do that. Even if you do your homework, even if you want to be free, the only thing you can do is live with cash. And we live in the society where most country will make your life harder if you want to live only with cash without a bank account.
What you said about Revolut, and it's on a spectrum and things are changing. So my father actually spoke to me about 3 or 4 days ago, and he said, "Hey Josh, have you seen what they've added to Revolut?" And he showed me, and I think Aave, the token, is on Revolut. Am I right in saying that, Mark?
Yes.
Okay. With this sort of progress happening, things as mainstream as Revolut, neobanks trading crypto custodially, but still, what do you think? I don't want to be like a price watcher, but why do you think the market is so low, considering all of the increasing kind of public-facing, retail-facing things that are going on? What do you think that's? Why do you think that is?
Crypto is still associated also with illegal activities and all that stuff. It has such a bad publicity, and I have like family members that wanted to invest in crypto, air columns, whatever that means, and they were like super afraid they were going to lose their money, and they were using centralized exchange and whatever. But I think that crypto in general has a really bad publicity.
Gosh, I'm happy that you brought that up, actually. It's one of the topics that I wanted to get our guests' opinion on. Would you guys say that we are still in a bull cycle or are we in a bear cycle? I know at the beginning of the call we made some jokes that we're in it for the tech, but I'm curious to get your take because kind of like what Josh just said, the amount of innovation that's happening and the speed at which projects are shipping right now, it just feels so different. And I'm trying to wrap my head around the disconnect between the price and what's actually happening. I'd love to get your opinion and your feedback and your take on that. Mark, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't really have an opinion. I don't pay much attention to the price of stuff. Just eat because of collateral. But actually, I don't pay much attention because I think that the important thing is innovation, and in the long term, prices are going to go up because it's happened. If we continue, all of us, Aave, MP, 88 MPH, Yearn, Compound, everyone continues innovating not only in the technological part, but in the human coordination part, in the decentralization part, in all these aspects. I think that in the long term, 5-10 years, this is going to go up. There's no other choice.
Yeah, same thing here. Crypto is on a more than a decade-long bull market. If you zoom out and stop looking at candles and on your screen every day, we like DeFi as it is right now is like 100 times bigger than what it was like 18 months ago, and it's still less than 0.1% of what it's going to be because the addressable market is basically everyone. So I'm not very concerned about the price fluctuation over the course of a few weeks or months because we are building for the years to come, and we are building for everyone. And I truly believe that the alternative we are building all together is worth it because the competition we have, it's not within the ecosystem. The competition we have is traditional finance, and traditional finance is shit. And we want something different. Nobody goes in the street with a t-shirt with "I love my bank" on it. Like nobody in this world.
I want to get your opinion on this. If the alternative is traditional finance system, okay, so imagine that the crypto is kind of like a people's choice, right? It's the choice of people who don't want to abide by the current financial system because of all the problems it brings. Retail money enough to basically keep, as the market goes down, yields go down and it becomes less attractive. If you want to keep money in the market, is retail enough for that? And if you expect institutions to invest, why would institutions invest in the thing that's going to be their own downfall? It's something I've been thinking about recently. Like, what are we hoping to accost the majority of centralized finance people to in a thing that's going to bring them down? Is that kind of it? Do you see what I'm saying? It seems a bit of an oxymoron, or a bit of a juxtaposition.
Because there's not there is no alternative. Like right now, we consider that the yields are down in DeFi because they are between 3 to 7%. If you go to a yield aggregator like Yearn, you will find like better rates than on a middleware. But you have to consider what are the yields right now in centralized finance. And for institution, when you tell them that with 88 MPH you can get 4, 5, 6, 7% on stable coins, that's orders of magnitude higher than what they can get elsewhere. Like, to me, the efficiency of DeFi, by definition, by all things work, it's very hard to beat. And it's not about investing in something that will kill you. It's about evolving or dying, survival of the fittest.
Yeah, and talking about that, like to jump into another topic regarding like following the money, this kind of strategy that traditional finance is starting to be aware of. In terms of risk management, what's your opinion, guys, regarding the way we can improve how traditional finance or CeFi or like fintech guys are looking at us in terms of how we manage the risk and where we can improve to look better. Basically, like for example, on Yearn, there is some risk related to Yearn itself. There is risk related to the underlying protocol you are using, the strategists, basically a lot of things, and kind of the same for Aave, kind of the same for 88MPH. Wondering, yeah, what's your takes on that regarding risk management in DeFi for the following more 4 years?
I think we need more insurance because there's always risk. And let's not forget the DeFi is very young, so that's why it's so risky. And I agree that every layer on top of something like Yearn that has the vaults and the strategies and all that stuff makes the protocol more risky. But I think that protocols have to be aware, and I think that during the last months or during this year, especially, they've been truly aware of the risk, of the importance of security, of the smart contracts and everything, and I think that we need insurance. That's how I started, because bugs are going to appear because no code is perfect. I think that is going to become more and more difficult with the market maturity also, because right now you not only have bugs, but also you have economic exploits because the market is inefficient. So we need that maturity and more insurance to be able to insure the funds you're deploying to any protocol.
So basically you are saying we need a Federal Reserve on DeFi?
Yeah. If you put it like that, it sounds kind of weird. No.
Yeah,
No,
I
don't
actually like those scheme like from the governments. I will not talk about the US because I'm from Europe and I'm more knowledgeable about what happened in Europe at that level. Yeah, they are like smoke screen. Like they say that if you are a European citizen, your accounts are protected per citizen up to 100,000 euros. And the World Protection Funds, there's €5 billion in it, so not enough to pay everyone. But that's a different topic. Insurance is a big word because there's a lot of regulation and whatever around it. And insurance is a word also that imply like some state or some centralized authority that will enforce whatever decision has been done. And this is not the DeFi way. But I do agree 100% that we need some protection scheme within the ecosystem, led by the ecosystem and managed by the community, to make sure that when you deposit some asset inside the protocol, if things go bad, there's a good chance that you see some money back. In most cases, you will see 100% of your money back. In some cases, you will see some of your money back and not all of it. But there's something that has been built by the community for the community to protect that. At Aave, we have the safety module, which is a protection fund of $1.1 billion worth of Aave and also it. And that allows, if everything goes bad, that lenders are on Aave and depositor on Aave, and that's many protocols, that not only the Aave users, because many protocols deposit inside Aave, to make sure that if things go back, some of the money will come back through the slashing of the stakers, because the stakers, the Aave token holders that choose staking, are willing to take the responsibility to take a hit on their stake to make sure that liquidity providers see, at least in the worst case scenario, some of the money coming back, and in the best case scenario, all their money coming back.
Yep. Sorry, Josh.
Mark, you bring up such an important point, and it's one of the things I wanted to talk about. So I used to have this idea that people would flock simply to just the insurance projects to cover funds in different protocols, but I really like the approach that Aave's taken. Do you think that we're going to see more projects take this more of like an in-house insurance approach, because it doesn't look like the insurance side of things has officially full blown taken off. And I wonder if that has something to do with maybe the premiums being too high. But I wonder if you see, like, do you see a DeFi world where there's just more in-house protection?
Well, the first thing is that many protocols deposit into Aave, so many users of those protocols are protected by the safety module of Aave. Like for example, if you deposit in 88 MPH and you take like the Aave USDC or Aave DAI, you are covered by the safety module because you are a user of Aave. Because in DeFi, with all this synergy and composability, there's no such thing of silos. So if your money end up in one protocol and that protocol has a protection fund, you are covered as well by that protection fund. So I have the feeling that middleware should do that. And that's, for example, what Maker does. Like Maker are also enforcing their own protection scheme. They're working differently than the Aave safety module. But at the end of the day, when you have DAI, there's the maker token holder that are taking the risk of dilution if something goes bad. And that's what we learned during the Black Thursday in March 2020, when there's been some liquidation issue with the maker system. What happened is that maker token holder got diluted because some maker assets have been created in order to make sure the system is whole, and there's always $1 worth of collateral behind each DAI. And DAI is still around today, and that proved that the protection scheme worked.
Talking about that, like in terms of the way you can liquidate an asset quickly enough to get your user whole at the end of the day, like, do you think there is some limitation regarding this system? Overall, like, let's say this thing scaled to 100 billion, where we will find the liquidity to make like 1% of your user whole at the end of the day?
Well, first of all, DeFi is very liquid. Like this day, you can place order of like quite an amount and it will pass. And we saw in DeFi like quite a few volatility events that in traditional finance they will call black swan, like double-digit volatility in crypto. That's
Yeah.
any other days. But we saw like specific spike of volatility in the ecosystem and DeFi ecosystem. I talked about the Black Thursday in March 2020, but also we got like in around the 18th of May or 2021. Quite a volatility event. I think most people here and their portfolio remember at the end of May. And basically what happened during those sharp events is that liquidity just work, because what we have in DeFi right now is on the liquidation system, you have the flash bolt, you have the flash loan, so you don't even need collateral or capital to execute liquidation. You have incredible automatic market makers such as Curve for stablecoins, Uniswap V3, SushiSwap, and you need like we got quite a few Armageddon events like Ragnarok and end of the world event in DeFi, and the protocol are still here because everything is extremely resilient. Like everything we built all together is with this idea of being resilient to adversary market condition.
Yeah, but I love this idea of composability and making everyone resilient at the same time. I'm still wondering if we can build something, every DeFi protocol willing to take action regarding protecting their user can join force together to build something else than just siloed mechanism to protect just a percentage of the network. Maybe there is way of doing that in the future. I heard about also another layers of de-risking and protecting the user at the end is with governance treasury, with kind of war chests that some protocol are building currently. And when something wrong, there is always a percentage that can be taken and used to make everyone whole. Let's say the last example I have in mind is with Alchemix, when they did something wrong with their the last product, they make everyone whole and everyone was happy at the end. So I think this kind of strategy is also another layer we can build around, protecting users. Because as you said, Mark, at the end of the day, like insurance is like small smoke screen, even on chain, and it's costly currently. So yeah, there is definitely a need to build native product inside your own protocol for sure.
And also, and I will finish on that topic on that, is that the more DeFi grow and is around, the more resilient it is. Because when you look at liquidity protocols, so such as Maker, Compound, or Aave, there's protocol fees. And right now, those protocol fees, by the design of the market condition, where the interest rates are higher on stablecoins, and the way the protocol take their fee by taking a fraction of the interest paid by the borrowers, those protocol fees war chest are being built every second and are growing every second with mostly stablecoins. So that means that the longer DeFi is around and DeFi protocol are around, the larger those protocol fees, war chairs are, and they are mostly stablecoins. That means that in case of sharp volatility events, you will have non-speculative assets around to make sure as an additional way to protect the users. Because when the protection funds are only, for example, in ETH, like many assurance schemes on-chain exist, usually when you have a sharp volatility event, all the crypto price drops. So the Ethereum price drop as well. And that's why it's important to build over time stablecoins protection funds as well, because if everything goes wrong, you have a pretty good confidence that your DAI or USDC will still have value.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the treasury thing. We did cover when we had an incident at Yearn with the treasury funds. We took a loan and we made our users whole. But if I will talk about Yearn, if we had an incident like protocol wide, there's no big enough treasury to cover that. So we have, I don't know, I don't have the answer. That's a spoiler, but I think we need to find the method or the solution altogether to be able to protect the users, because it's actually that, it's protecting the users. Because if the protocols always end up paying with a treasury, actually it's like putting a safety net for the users, and I think that the users gotta be responsible for their funds. And also, what I've said before, I think there's no treasury big enough to cover every single user of the protocol. So that there we have like a tricky thing that we gotta innovate and think about to find a solution.
Yeah, I agree with Farku in a way, because I'm from the UK, and in the UK, our health and safety laws are incredibly strict. And all that does is it makes people kind of unable to be safe by themselves, right? Like, the more safety nets you have, the less sensible people are with their money, or in this case, with the way they handle their funds online. So to an extent, obviously, onboarding retail requires extra security and extra care, but also I do think that DeFi is so different. I think it's also not just different in terms of how the systems work, but also in how you interact with it. And I think it puts a lot more onus on self-responsibility. And I think that's kind of like what we're kind of hoping for, is a decentralized, not just finance, but decentralized kind of responsibility over your own assets,
Totally. Guys, I sort of want to shift gears a little bit to a topic that's been relatively super hot throughout all of 2021. And I'm curious to get your opinion on NFTs in general. There's been a lot of investment around NFTs, a lot of hype. I'm wondering if you guys envision a period of time where, NFTs could be potentially used, excuse me, as collateral and stuff like that. What's your take on that, Mark? And then Faku, I'll bring it back to you because I know that there's some projects that are trying to yield farm with NFTs. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
So it's alpha leak time. So yeah, Aave is very actively working on the NFT field. There's not a lot of things that are public right now, but what is public is that we are working on that field, and it's about using NFTs as collateral inside the Aave protocol, or at least inside the protocol. And I really believe there's a whole field around that. And what I really love to see is that I don't know if you spend a lot of time in the big NFT communities for art or gaming or also other stuff, but there's actually very little overlap between the DeFi community, the crypto Twitter, and the NFTs community. Like I'm following like several projects, and the guys, they don't even know most of the DeFi protocols, and they just use crypto because that's the infrastructure for the cool stuff they are building and using, and they don't care about speculative assets or trading or these kind of things. Obviously, there's some overlap, but not that much, and it's really, really interesting to me.
Yeah, I spent some time in Art Blocks. They have a Discord. I don't know if you know Art Blocks. They're quite good. They release like an artist comes and releases a number of like a feature. And yeah, when I was hanging out in there, everyone was just super interested in the art. They were interested in the artist, in the art, like the technology behind the art. But there was no one else talking about anything else to do with crypto or DeFi. It was just about the art, which was really strange.
But also cool because we are basically opening up the technology, like Ethereum and the blockchain is like a Trojan horse for a whole new set of users and communities that are discovering crypto indirectly through NFTs.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of hype around NFTs as art. I really like Yearn Aave 3 because they put some utility to the NFT. You know, I think that when more people start seeing the NFTs as a database, because it's actually a database, we are going to find like much more utility, and that's going to be gorgeous. Because I'm not much of an art fan, but I'm really hoping we see more utility in NFTs.
Yeah, it was what I was going to say in terms of yeah, there is the NFT world with arts, in-game asset, these kind of things, but there is also the use cases we currently have. For example, with 88MPH, we are basically NFT driven project since the beginning. Each deposit on 88MPH is an NFT. Even the yield token is an NFT. Even the MPH vested to your wallet are NFT on V3. So yeah, basically we are building everything on NFT right now, and it's really cool to see that you can do a lot of things with NFT. And people were looking at us really kind of asking, but why are you using NFT? Like in November 2020, I remember like I got some DM on Telegram asking, what the fuck are you doing with NFT? Like, why are you not using ERC20 like everyone else? Yeah, it was like really weird. But right now there is Uniswap V3, they use NFT, and yeah, it's opening a lot of horizon for everyone for sure.
I'd ask you about Aave. Would you ever consider using NFTs as collateral for lending?
Yeah, there's very active development around that. It's a bit early to say more about it, but stay tuned over the next few, I will say weeks to be conservative. Yeah.
Do you mean specifically sort of like, for example, the Uniswap V3 liquidity NFTs? That would be a position, right? That would have a collateral attached to it. But would you
Yes,
also?
but not only. Also, like fully fledged NFTs, because when people look at the recent development of Aave, you have like all the Aave for institution products that are coming that people call Aave Pro. You also have like the automatic market maker EMM market that use some EMM position as collateral. And obviously, if you want to have Uniswap v3 synergies there, you need some support for NFTs, which are the NFT of Uniswap. But that's not the only thing, because he also, like, between those two worlds, that the institutional world and the NFT world, you have the real world assets. And the real world assets, using NFTs to represent them makes sense for a variety of reasons. And that's also an interesting field to represent real estate or tokenized invoice or these kind of things. But there's also a whole other fields that we are working on, but it's a bit early to talk about it. Maybe I said too much already.
Well, thank you for the alpha.
Guys, we have about 15 minutes remaining to our call. There's just so much to discuss, and we're so privileged to have two awesome projects with us. I'd like to ask the audience if anyone has a question, if they'd like to go ahead and raise their hand so we can bring you up on stage. And if not, we'll just continue to finish up the conversation here. So I'll give anyone in the audience an opportunity. Please go ahead. And for the sake of not wasting time, Mark, you just touched on a topic that I was curious about. There's been a lot of discussion around bringing DeFi to the institutions. And I know that there's some works. I know that Compound is working on their solution. You guys have your solution. What's your take on this concept of bringing DeFi to the institutions as opposed to having them come to DeFi? And when I say that, I mean, it sounds like there's some workaround, or it's going to be like sort of unique and specific to them. Will these products have very strict regulations, whether it be KYC, AML? How will it work?
I cannot say everything about Aave Pro, but like most of the things are public already. Basically, it's the same experience than Aave, but in order to interact with those specific liquidity pools, you will need to be whitelist. And we have actually building with Fireblocks, this first liquidity pool that works that way. And basically, you will need to be whitelist by Fireblocks, which is like a regulated entity that many know inside the ecosystem. So that will mean like KYC, or most likely KYB, so know your business, because most likely it's many entities that will interact with that market. But it's the same experience than Aave. It's Aave v2 code with the whitelist module, which is an innovation for that sense. And what is interesting to me is the journey of the institution. So first, like a few years ago, they were all saying like crypto is for terrorists. We will never touch that. Like you had like big investors or big figures of traditional finance that would say words like Bitcoin is rat poison, or I don't remember the exact quote, but these kind of things. Then they said, yeah, crypto is good, but Bitcoin is bad. We want to do private blockchain. Then they said, okay, we will do consortium blockchain. So we will use the Ethereum technology, but with a centralized set of nodes. And now we are at the stage where they say, okay, this thing is really important, and we cannot just close our eyes to it, and we will go to it, but the law is the law, the regulation is the regulation. We have a set of rules to abide to, so we want to go in a public decentralized blockchain, which is the Ethereum mainnet, and we want that liquidity protocol, the liquidity pool we are going into, to make sure that every participant are fulfilling this kind of any number of requirement that is important for the actors of this ecosystem. And I really like the progress of things, of going to complete hostility or to more and more going to decentralized product.
I have a question. You mentioned about people requesting private blockchains or consortium of blockchains, and they have to make the choice towards going to decentralized protocols. Is there a conceivable world in which institutions use blockchain and cryptocurrency technology, but they don't use decentralized technology? Like, is that a possibility? You know, from what we've seen so far.
What is important to me is that the network is neutral and decentralized. Like if you are in the blockchain where there's like 21 nodes and all that node are the same name with two letters, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But if the network is actually decentralized and anybody can have a copy of the ledger and participate and validate that network, that makes sense to me. And DeFi is a spectrum. So you will have like application, like I said a bit before, like 100% decentralization is Uniswap V1. Like that's pure decentralization, pure DeFi, like a piece of code that is out there that cannot evolve and that will exist forever, and anybody can interact with the smart contract directly. And you will have a whole range of offerings within that spectrum of decentralization. My hope is that the more we evolve and the more we build, the more we are on the decentralized part of that spectrum.
Awesome. Once again, just letting everyone know in the audience, we do have a couple minutes remaining to the call. Please feel free to raise your hand so we can bring you up on stage if you have any questions.
I'll take that back to Mark unless there's another question. But what defense does the current cryptocurrency community, builders, everyone in it right now, what defense do we have against the institutions setting up a centralized digital currency?
Not using it. You just use like, for example, I have like almost nothing in the centralized finance world. Like I have enough to pay my rent, I have enough to pay my bills and to pay for my food, and all the rest is on a public decentralized blockchain because that's my choice. As a citizen, I want to participate as little as possible in their system because their system is not good enough for me. And I think what we are building is better. But that's my position. And if there's whatever central bank digital currency out there, we will have no choice but to use it in most cases, like for paying the rent, paying the bills and these things. But people will always have the choice to use a decentralized blockchain.
Cool, thank you.
I wanted to add to that.
Yeah, sorry.
What's a centralized currency? Centralized digital currency might be like USDT. Maybe that there's a central entity that can blacklist you. I think that's what we talked earlier about the spectrum. You have users that want to use DAI because they believe in the decentralization of MakerDAO and they're comfortable with the risk profile of DAI. And you have users that will want to use USDT because they believe that having a central entity is better because if their funds are stolen, the guy is going to get the funds blocked. So I think we have to have, I think that it's cool to have a different solution for every user in a different part of the spectrum. I think that's a cool thing. And we are going to onboard more people because it's not only about decentralization for me. If it's a public blockchain, it's going to be super transparent because you will be able to see the transactions that an entity, a user, or whoever is doing. And for me, that's super important to be transparent.
Yeah, and to be honest, just what you said, Faku, is that when you have USDC, why do you need CDBC? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, if you want like some compliant USD form, just use USDC. You don't need like something that is created by the Fed.
That's a really good point. A point that I've heard come up many, many times, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out with regards to stablecoins and stablecoins in general. I'm going to pass the mic over to Crypto Commander. If you want to go ahead and ask your question. You there? Crypto Commodore? Okay, I guess not. McFly, I believe we have about 5 minutes remaining. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, so maybe we should take the last 5 minutes here just to quickly do our raffle, and then we can close out the call. So this is where everyone in the audience has an opportunity to participate in our raffle giveaway. We invite everyone to the general chat where we will ask you to drop a number between 1 and 50, and the person who gets the closest or bang on will win $100 worth of 88 MPH. So now is the opportunity to go ahead and do that. And if Josh and McFly within our own private chat, if you guys want to drop me a number, that'd be great.
Crypto Commodore is saying that he's not able to unmute for some reason because he's active. So he's actually here.
Maybe if he leaves and then re-add him again, it might work.
McFly, check Telegram.
I posted it. Not sure for Crypto Commodore if, yeah, you can disconnect, reconnect. Maybe it will solve your issue.
No, McFly, hang on.
Don't worry. If I win, I will donate it.
You wouldn't be the first guest that's won. It's happened twice now.
I'm very lucky usually.
Okay, awesome. So we have our number, and it looks like the winner is Really Riano.
Oh,
Congratulations.
congrats, bro.
Okay, guys, with that being said, I would like to thank our guests as well as our audience for coming out and spending their time with us. We learned so much. We really appreciate it. We look forward to having you guys on another call sometime in the future. With that, thank you so much. This was a great call. I'll pass it off to McFly just real quick. And thanks everyone for coming out.
Yep, thank Reaper. Thanks everyone for joining us today. It was really cool to have you, Mark, and thank you. Just before leaving you, just a minute talking about what currently is happening at 88MPH. So I will go quick regarding the updates. Just I'm taking my note here. So we will be at FCC next week. We will be sponsoring the events also. We will be around in the conferences in the different parties. So yeah, if you see some guys with a shirt 88MPH or over, like just hang out with us, we will be happy to chat with you and drink with you, whatever you want to do. Also, we will announce some news regarding the liquidity, the next step regarding liquidity incentives. We'll talk about that, I hope, before the end of this week. We're waiting our partners to validate some step with us regarding smart contracts. So right now we are moving to the next step. So hopefully we can announce something soon. We are currently running user interviews. I met around 20 different guys talking with different DeFi users. We learned a lot regarding how to explain things, how we can improve the usability and the accessibility of 88MPH v3 currently available on Rinkaby. So it's really helpful for us, and we are currently fixing stuff there. We are working with Humilify also with a bounty, security bounty on Rinkaby. We got some issues, some false positive, but everything so far is looking good. So yeah, finger crossed. And we are doing a kickoff with CAD Labs and Trade-off Bits tomorrow. For CAD Labs, working on a digital twin for 88MPH, trying to, having this tool to do some projections, estimates regarding what we can improve and how we can improve stuff, stress testing things also. And Trade-off Bits, it will be the last piece of audit for 88MPH v3 before going full steam on mainnet. And we will announce the winner of IF Global also, the hackathon, and we will announce also a new hackathon probably for August. So yeah, that's the news, guys. Thanks for your time. Thanks for listening, and have a good one, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much. That was a great talk.
It's great to speak
Thanks,
to you.
guys. Hope to see you at Paris.
Yeah, for sure.
At the rave.
Hey, Mark,
You
I hope
guys-
I can get a ticket for that rave.
Yeah, come see
Yeah.
me. We will do that. And Faku, if you're here, I would be more than happy as well.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that'd be really cool. Yeah,
Cool,
See you,
guys.
guys.
So yeah, let's meet in Paris. See you.
let's meet in Paris. See you. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.